Welcome back to the Gun Collective. My name is Jon Patton. Guys, this is going to be a little bit different than our normal news type videos. I wanted to make sure that we're mixing up the content and keeping stuff fresh for you guys. So today, I'm going to be telling you about the tools that I think are required to be like sort of an amateur gunsmith. Some of these you may actually want to use. Some of them you probably don't need for your specific application, but I'm basically going to go through this here bench, which is full of drawers, and show you guys the kind of stuff that I like to keep around and actually use. Before we get too far into the video, I want to say thank you to our sponsor, Simply Safe. Be sure to use our code simplysafe.com/TGC and check out their really solid holiday deals this year. Now, let's go ahead and get into it. I will pop open my top drawer and start showing you guys the things that are in here. So that is a good representation of what is in my top drawer, the one I access the most. And I'm just going to kind of go through and explain to you what everything is, why I have it, etc. I'll start with the weirdest one, the most specific one. This is a tool from Brownells. Yeah, it's labeled Brownells. And as you can see, it's got this little nub here, and it is literally meant to take off sling studs on bolt-action guns, specifically older ones. I bought this for a Ruger project, and I only needed it once. So there's that. Then we've got this thing here. Now, this is one that I don't think a lot of people are going to need on a regular basis, but I love it because I think it's handy. It's actually from House of Arms, HOA, and it's for knocking out the hinge pin on a Thompson center. Now, this is also useful for any other similar pin punch. I have a AR-15 size like pin punch here, and really I'm kind of a bull in a china shop type person, and I'll just pull out any old hammer like this. This is an old hammer. It's not like a gunsmithing hammer, and I don't think you need one. I think it's absurd to think that you need a specific hammer when all it does is impact things. I think that's absurd, unless you're, you know, a non-marring hammer. Yeah, maybe that makes sense. Anyway, having a Delrin Pin Punch keeps the firearm nice, and I think that's a smart thing. They come in a bunch of different sizes. You can get them specific to ARs. I think they're nice to have around. Then you have these Hoobajubes. These are your kind of armorer's wrenches for the AR platform and basically anything else that you can get your hands on that has these sort of things. Castle nut wrench. It's got the ring wrench. I forget the Delta ring set up here. It's got the pins. It's got different size slots for muzzle brakes and this and that. Same thing here. This is a different implementation. This one's actually older. It's a DPMS. This is the first one I ever bought. I don't know. I think I got this in a tack pack. But these things are fantastic to have around if you're real quick, just need to tear something apart. If you're like me and you're always tinkering with something, we are constantly getting new parts in to try. And this right here, these are for muzzle brakes. Those get used a lot, because it's always crank that on, crank this back down. That's cool. More specific tools, these are roll pin starter punches. As you can see, the point is hollow, and you just slam a roll pin in there, get it started, tippy tap, you know, a little bink, 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 get it going, and that is actually great, so you don't have to use your fingers, and if your fingers are like sausages like mine, that's a great tool to have. Then we have, this is from a company called BRD Engineering. Shout out to them for me buying this. This is a gas block dimpling tool, and really it's a simple idea. It's lining up the gas port and a dimpling hole in the bottom here. So you can put a dimple in the bottom and line it up and make sure it's nice and clean and secure, etc. It comes with bits, whatever. Having a tool like this, they make a bunch of different versions for different barrel sizes, etc. Having a tool like that is really good, especially when you're assembling your own stuff on a regular basis. Holy crap, is that nice to have. Moving on from there, this is Magpul Bev Block. These are really cool. As you can see, it's got a spot for the barrel extension, and I believe the bolt closes on there, and it's sort of like a mag block, really. You slam this into your vise, and it'll hold your upper nice and secure. For me, stuff like this is really just about making my life easier. That's what I want tools like this for. So there is an alternate solution, which would be This one from Geisley, there are other ones here. It's got slabs for holding it. It goes into the barrel extension here. It's a different implementation. Like the whole barrel would, or whole upper would slide over this, and this would go into the barrel extension, whereas this goes up into the bottom of the upper receiver. This is actually a different implementation of an upper vice block as well, because it's got 2 pins on it. Let me pull that out and show you guys. This is a very old one as well. You can see it's kind of cut for an upper. It's got 2 pins to hold securely, and then it's made of Delrin, so you can beat it up quite a bit. But you have a lot of options for holding guns. Vice blocks and a vise. Honestly, a vise. These 2 things alone will make your life so much easier, rather than... I've tried to assemble ARs with like virtually nothing, no tools, like a hammer and a punch set, and you could do it, it just sucks. But having these sorts of things around to hold the workpiece is a wonderful thing. It's just an absolutely wonderful thing to be able to like not worry about the thing slipping out of your hands and that sort of crap. Then you've got sockets, wrenches, things like that. I've got assorted sockets here for Lord knows what. This one, this 13 millimeter, is actually great for these 0 delta mounts. You would pop it on there, and really, it's about keeping things simple. There, that's easy. Now, you could crank that down by hand. You could have a different socket wrench, yada, yada, yada. You can have a bunch of different tools, and having a good socket set is kind of universal. It really is kind of universal. I like it. I like having specific sockets for things like this. You know, being able to pop that off of there really easily. I'm actually getting rid of this particular firearm, so that's a cool thing to be able to do. The holidays are upon us, and you don't want the Grinch to steal Christmas, right? Because of that, Simply Safe has come up with a special holiday offer for you guys, and we'll get to that in a second. Simply Safe is an effective, easy-to-use home security system with available 24/7 monitoring that can be used to call the police if need be, tons of sensors for every corner, entrance, and exit of your home, and there are no contracts. Genevieve and I got really interested in home security as we started realizing things are not the same as they used to be, and we wanted to feel more at ease. Not only that, but we have the option to be self-governing, so to speak, and not get the monitoring at all and just handle things ourselves. The setup process was super simple and really, really straightforward.
Simply Safe on. Home.
We've had our system for a while now and have been able to see the sensors in action working every day, even though we don't really see them in our day-to-day life. They don't like stand out. For us, the peace of mind that this gives us is worth every cent. And like I said, they've got a holiday deal going on right now. If you use our link down in the description or go to simplysafe.com/TGC, you'll get 30% off the entire system. That's awesome. Plus, you'll get a free high-def camera. That right there is a good deal. Again, that's simplysafe.com/TGC to get in on that holiday deal. So yeah, sockets, a great thing. Another great thing, this is probably going to be another point of contention that people might argue with me on. This is a cheap punch set. As you can see, one of them's bent because it's a cheap punch set. Now, the idea here is you don't need like a ton of punches. It's good to have a good set that's non-marring, like a brass punch set, but I have gotten by with these punches for about 10 years now. Like, this is something I bought at Home Depot, but this is really cheap, and it will get the job done on building or taking apart just about anything. So, a punch set. And last but not least, this is a little bit janky McJankerson because it's, I don't know, old school style, but this is a torque wrench. Having a torque wrench, especially when you're trying to appropriately put something together without doing it the janky McJankerson way, this is a good tool to have. So a torque wrench, hammer, punches, ways to hold your work pieces, that's all really good stuff. Let's keep it rolling. I'm going to put this back in the drawer, and then we'll get into my other drawers. Actually, before I go too far, I forgot this. This is an assembly tool from Geisley. It's basically a slave pin tool. So when you're putting a trigger in an AR, you would pop this in, make sure everything's aligned, and then hammer the actual trigger pins through and knock this out. That's cool. Assembly lube, OMG, that is key. And then stuff like this, which is a little bit more job specific. This is a universal wrench from Bowers Group. And we've got a lot of suppressors from Bowers. Actually, that same rifle has one on there. So you would use this where appropriate and be able to take things apart, yada, yada, yada. Different sizes. Things like this are really good because they transition from gun to gun, and having them handy when you're trying to pop things apart very quickly is a good thing. Okay, so editing sort of on the fly, I've decided that I'm going to keep this as simple as possible so that it doesn't become a hour-long video of me talking about every single tool I have. I will just talk about the best tools that I have in sort of this side. There's a long drawer on the top and two kind of stacks down the side. So I'll talk about the things in this particular side and why I think you guys should consider having them in your drawer. Something like this. This is I think this is for a 1911. It's from Real Avid, but it's magnetic. So I would use this if I'm putting something on here and trying to like knock out a pin, but I don't want to lose it, or it's a very expensive gun. Yeah, this is a 1911 specific one. You can see the wrench there. But they make a bunch of these, and having some way to support something when you're knocking a pin out is really, really handy. And the fact that it's magnetic, keeping things from going flying all over our studio is a good thing. Then we've got a little bit more like kind of universal tools. This is a Lyman trigger pull gauge. Yep, it's you have to put it together. But the idea with the trigger pull gauge is being able to test for us aftermarket triggers. You know, we've got a bunch of stuff here. If there's an issue that we're trying to diagnose, maybe the trigger feels heavy for some odd reason. I don't know. There could be any number of reasons. We have that tool. That is a great tool to have for us. I don't know if you need it. Then this is something that everybody absolutely needs, especially reloaders. This is a micrometer. When you're trying to measure anything, I mean, it's got inside, outside, whatever. It's a simple micrometer. It is not the most precise thing. It's, you know, on the more affordable end of micrometers, but being able to precisely measure your barrel diameter in a certain area, or, you know, the inside diameter, something measuring your shell casings, things like that, overall length when you're trying to reload, et cetera, et cetera. There's so many different reasons for you to have one of these. Then this is not something that I think everybody might want, but I think it's a really cool idea. And this is not specific to Breakthrough Clean. It's one of these lube bottles with like a needle point applicator. And the reason this is cool is on certain guns, you don't want like just a ton of lube everywhere. And if you got like the channels and the slide, this is super good for getting in there. I think that's a smart thing to have around, and it's nice and easy. Then this thing is dirt. Like all my stuff is just always dirty and out of sorts. This is a fat wrench. It's from Wheeler, but this is a great little torque wrench for mounting optics and things of that nature. There's just an Allen key sitting in there and a scope level. But the idea here is that you want something so that you can have repeatable torque on your optic mounting solutions. So, for instance, here it is. These screws here all need to be torqued down correctly and consistently across, so you're not like unevenly torquing this and creating issues for yourself later on. So, having a torque wrench like that, specifically that one, is a great option. Then you want to keep a box like this ACO one around for what I'm about to show you. That's optic mounting plates, but that. As a gun owner, you will come across 80 million different Allen keys. And you will constantly have to be like, where's the one I had? If you're, I mean, I don't know anybody that like actually is able to organize all this crap, because everybody throws Allen keys in there and everybody has like 8 million different sizes. Smart people have things like this. It's a little screwy here. It's not cute because I'm constantly using these, but this is a Hex Wrench Set in standard and metric. Again, a really good thing to have around, but sometimes you need mission-specific ones with different ends and yada, yada, yada. These actually have ball ends. They're a little bit rusty from being down here with some of the moisture coming in, but the ball end is really nice if you're coming at a not square angle. You can really get in there and do what you need to do. So there's that side. Let's get into the other side and just go through some more. Okay, into the other side. There's actually less in there. There's like a bunch of junk, like some gun cleaning stuff that is like a Cabela's kit from 10 years ago that doesn't matter anymore. Gun cleaning stuff, we could talk about 8 million different ways to do that, but really the key here is screwdrivers. OMG, do you need screwdrivers? Things like these little kits are super nice. Now, I'm not claiming to be some sort of expert. I actually keep a Wheeler gunsmithing screwdriver set in my car because at the range with my vehicle, that's when I need this sort of thing the most. So in the home set, I've got all kinds of stuff going on. There's a bunch of these like small kits that I've compiled over the years. Then you have, these are actually really nice. These are files. And having things like that, especially when you're buying cheap products, being able to massage things to fit properly is great. Phillips Head and one of these like magnetic things. This is a great little tool for screwdrivers. And then also precision screwdriver sets. If you start getting into electronics like optics and things like that, and you need to pull something apart, I don't know that everybody's going to need to do that. That is a way to do it. So really the key here is going to be like having a good set of screwdrivers. To me, having a gunsmithing screwdriver set is the key here. That would cover pretty much everything here except the files. But I don't have mine here because it's out in my vehicle. Then we have these little pliers. These are needle nose that are sort of bent over, as you guys can see. And this is really nice for sort of getting in, like if you're working on something small and you want to get in from an angle, or vice versa. These are just so handy when you're trying to work on something small. Again, sausage fingers, making it easy on yourself. All right, and our last one here is actually a thing that I don't know that everybody needs, but I think it's cool. It's from Hold Up Displays, and it's a really simple product. It's just a display rack type thing. This is a heavy revolver, and this bigger one actually does a pretty decent job. They're coated. It's metal, but it's coated so that it doesn't screw up the bore or anything like that. I think these are great for social media pictures and things like that. They make a bunch of different types. You guys have seen them in my videos here and there. We've used them to display things. Actually, in the shotgun video that we showed you guys, we used this one, which has the padding there, and it stands on its own. That's another cool one. I've got a drawer full of them. All right, guys, so that's actually kind of all I have in my bench right now. I would like to kind of clean things up and simplify and all that and get like a nicer hammer set, but between having the studio and my apartment and my office upstairs, I'm kind of spread out. It's not the greatest solution right now, but I wanted to share with you guys how I handle things, what I've got on hand, and there will be links in the description to check these out. So probably some affiliate links, so we get a little kickback. That's rad for us. And if you guys want to get some cool, nice gear, you can do that. And of course, be sure to check out our sponsor, Simply Safe. Guys, go to simplysafe.com/TGC to get in on their holiday offer. It is really, really good this year. We love our system. Genevieve and I use it every single day as we're going in and out of our home. We think it's fantastic, and I know you guys will too. So be sure to check out simplysafe.com/TGC. Now, as always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, hit like on the button where appropriate. If you think we've earned it, go ahead and get subscribed. And as always, thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon.